Hey, buddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and I'm doing the best job in the world. I'm playing Civilization 6 for you guys. We are playing as the Mayan Empire, and things are actually going relatively well. We're well on our way towards getting chemistry so we can have access to the delightful research lab, which will give us a huge boost to our science, especially in conjunction with the pair of scientific city-states in this game. That'll give us an extra 6 science in total from that, which will then get multiplied by all the delightful modifiers that we have. So I think this episode is all about optimizing science. We are currently the science leader in the game. We're behind Scythia by 3 techs, but we're ahead by 60 science, roughly speaking. So I think we've got it in the bag as far as I'm concerned. Now, a lot of people actually had a lot of comments on the series because there was a little bit of a gap between the recordings where they said you should have gone for the main, shouldn't have gone for the half Petra. I should have gone for the full Petra in the desert. And I think that's a reasonable thing to do, but I think it would have been, the Petra would have been really slow is the thing. I could have gone for the full desert Petra for sure, but I think it would have been really, really slow to do. So I feel like I made a reasonable choice doing things the way that I did and leaving this blank. And I feel like that is reflected in the quality, size, and position of my empire, just how far ahead of the AI I am at this stage of the game. I wouldn't say that I feel vindicated in my approach, but I feel like I made a decision that is at least as equally valid as the decision that people wanted me to take. And I feel very strongly about that. I could settle another city up by this volcano and get an absolute giga huge campus right there. And you know what? That is a fantastic idea. I think we settle on the rice. Yeah. Settle the rice. That way we have a lumber mill tile, a hill tile, and a camp tile that we could... Yep. I'm going to go for another settler. How much would it cost me to buy a settler? It's actually super cheap, so I'm just going to immediately buy it and move it out there. Actually perfect. I know I said I wasn't going to go for any more cities, but I do think that squeezing out that extra little bit of science is good. I also wanted to think about, did I want to go ahead and settle these things over here? I know I was probably meant to buy like a coal power plant or something with that gold, but listen guys. We got the workshop here in Koba. We have everything basically fully built here, so we're just going to grab the workshop for the culture. We don't really need anything else except for the great engineer points. We've got the observatory finished here. I'm going to quickly grab the lighthouse because trade routes are incredibly powerful. Which city could use a trade route? Probably one of my newer cities. And I might just save my gold for making settlers. Oops, my watch just fell off my arm. Apologies. Hopefully that didn't make too much of a rumbly bumbly noise on the video. Let's pop a fishing boat right here. That's a really nice 3 food, 1 production, 3 gold tile. Really fantastic stuff. I am going to need to crack out, I think, like 2 to 3 more builders potentially. Forbidden City was just cancelled, which sucks. Can I feed that into another potentially equally good wonder? Looks like that's a no. So I could grab an entertainment complex to boost up my science. I could grab a theater square for a little bit of extra culture. I don't need faith. A commercial hub wouldn't be amazing. I just have a flat tile. I think the thing that would scale the city up quite well is if I go for the entertainment complex and I get the arena, that's 3 amenities in total, which covers 6 population worth of amenities. That's a lot of amenities. And alternatively, this is a +3 theater square, which I think is worth it then. A +3 is worth it. That's a pretty damn good one. We've got our museums filled, so that's fine. We have a market option in Waknabal. Let's get that market up. I am behind by a single trade route, which is fine. Taking a look here, we did just finish the bank. I don't know if I'm going to go for the stock exchange. They're pretty good, but I don't know if I need them. I don't know if I need the factory or coal power plant here. This city is actually not powered, so the factory and coal power plant here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would give Calicomal and Copan power, so I will go for the factory and the coal power plant. I may go as well for the water park. We'll see about that. There's also a decent entertainment complex in this city somewhere. Just want to bump up that culture if I can. Just keep simming. I love simming. Simming is really fun. If you're not sure what simming means, simming in Civ 6 means basically building up your stats. If you're familiar with card games, there's this idea of building an engine, and in Civ 6, building your engine is like doing all the simming things, right? How much for another settler? Yeah, we could buy a settler next turn and send it over to this little chunk of continent. Now, this is the same continent as me, so maybe I could get up to Pangea. There's kind of an interesting observatory here with a pair of plantations. That's a +4/+4. I would also get access to more coal, which could be pretty cool. So there's an island city here, I feel. Where would I put this city? You know, if I were to settle right here on this tile, I could put a harbor right there. That's a +3. This could be a really good gold generating city if I were to go for a water park. I'll just go for a double trade district. Or we could put a farm triangle here to give this city extra boosted growth in the early game, and then something like this. I think I really like this build that we're going for in this city, just to maximize my science, with the high amenities as well covering it, and we'll get access to nice bananas. Just, this seems like a fun and intriguing city to make, so I will make that one. I wish I had a caravel in the area, and I do, so I can send this to go escort that scout over to that island, and I'll use the knight for that as well. Also, I can probably get another knight here. We did finish the market in the capital. In my opinion, purchasing things with gold to get my traders is the optimal move, but I am going to go ahead and just quickly build 2 traders in the capital, so I can set those trade. Actually, no. I'll use those in the new cities to get them set up. That's what I'll do. So instead, I think getting a bank +9 gold is really, really valuable. I don't want to get the factory because it uses power. While great engineer points are fantastic, I don't think I want to do that. We did just get the theater square in here, so we're going to get the amphitheater for +3 culture, and also the ability to buy 2 more great works of writing. I could put the trading dome here, but instead I think I prefer to just go for the production route. Just really having a lot of fun building up my empire's economy. But there's the Colosseum that was stolen from me a long time ago. Very annoying. He went to cultural alliance. I'm going to avoid cultural alliances because I don't want to give people opportunities to settle adjacent to me. But there's sanitation and natural history. Natural history will give us access to the water park as well as the zoo. So the water park is nice because it gives you amenities. You can get amenities from the Ferris wheel, and it uses up a water tile instead of a land tile. You also get the zoo, which is AoE amenities, as well as the aquarium, which is AoE amenities. The real power of the aquarium is the fact that it is a 9 tile range instead of 6. So very, very good. Might want to build one in Copan on the coast or something. We'll figure that out. Now, in terms of tech, so with natural history, we got a couple of envoys. I think we would like to get to... I don't think conservation is particularly interesting to us. I think we just want to go ahead and push for ideology. So I'll go nationalism into urbanism into scorched earth because that is the most efficient pathway. I guess if I have a city that's close to 15 population, if I were to delay the research of urbanization, it would at least get boosted, and my capital is going to grow to 15 population in 7 turns, so that seems to be a pretty good lineup. I will be building my theater squares up to at least tier 2, so +2 culture in every art museum, archaeological museum, and the consulate is quite good here. I still have 2 envoys banging around. I think 1 envoy in each of these is fine. I think I will put another envoy into Johannesburg just to get that +2 production in factories and consulates. And then I'll hold on to this envoy for later when I feel like I'm ready to use it. And I'm glad I moved my settler away from this volcano because I was expecting it to erupt. So where do I see tiles that need improving? Oh, there's actually some fishing tiles down here, although these are not within working range. I've started to become a fan of the builder lens. It's slowly grown on me. Very, very, very slowly. So let's go ahead and gold purchase a settler. We're expanding our empire with money. It's kind of a fun idea. Go ahead and yoink that and get ourselves a free military unit that will escort that settler next turn. Alongside the caravel, we'll get a nice fishing boat down here. I'm loving Palanque. Like it's generating so much science, so much culture. I think like 2 of my cities, like most of my cities are very, very unproductive scientifically, but some of them are just like cranking. Like my capital, dude, it's cranking out 70 culture, which is insane. I love it. I definitely feel like I want to go for a zoo. This zoo hits at least, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'll hit at least 4 cities. So that's like having an extra luxury in my empire. My amenities are still holding strong. Excellent. All right, lovely. We got a workshop here. And I don't know if we want to build an encampment. We don't need to go for the factory. I think we do want to get the encampment because we want the ability to create military engineers for flood barriers later. We have managed to get the shipyard in Quirigia. Let's think about what we want to go for next. I think I do have a campus placed, so we could go for the observatory. It's only a 6-turn build. I think it would be nice to place another district in here. An industrial zone. Oh, an industrial zone has been placed. So where do I put the observatory? Well, there's not really a whole lot of great observatory spots, but I think here is totally fine. And I think the observatory is a little bit more important to get online. So I'm going to go for that first. Those great scientist points are super useful. I think I talked a little bit about the way the great scientist stuff kind of like lines up, that we really want Albert Einstein, but there's like a very low probability that we get him because of like the awkwardness of how the great scientist point stuff works with the great people claiming. It would be nice to get a settlement on Siberia if we could pick up an extra luxury or two as well. So I wouldn't hate that. I might redirect, although I really love the design of this city, like with the triple farms, the pair of plantations, and then the rest of this will just be productive tiles. Like there's a mine here, there's a mine here. We could even do lumber mill. Alternatively, we could go for more of a gold city, use the food from the coastal tiles, and then turn these into lumber mills or mines as well. So that might give us more chopping. Maybe I like this design slightly better. It's slightly more productively focused, which I think suits. I think that this is more optimal. Yeah, I think this is more optimal. It's very gold focused. It'll pay for itself. I'm loving the exploration that we're getting in. There's the Enlightenment. Nothing really useful comes from the Enlightenment. I guess technically liberalism would be really good for us because that's +7 amenities, but we have retainers. Like if we lose retainers, we might be able to figure out a way to fit that into our government. Ooh, one of our cities has become unhappy, so there are probably luxuries I can buy. When I say unhappy, I just mean it's not literally maxed out on happiness anymore. I would like to build a 9-range water park, and so anywhere along this coastal section of Copan will totally hit 5 cities with its AoE amenities. So I think that's definitely what I'm going to do. Really fantastic stuff here in the center. So let's go to Copan. We're going to go for the water park. I'm going to make sure I swap tiles. I'll put it, I think here was going to hit them all anyway, so I'll put the water park there. That's fine. And this also leaves us open to potentially like putting a theater square there, and that would be like a +3 theater square, which isn't bad. It only kills one single mine. But yeah, the water park will be nice. In fact, I may just do the theater square anyway, just to max out the culture in this city without using a useful Petra tile. We got the amphitheater over here in Palenque, so let's see if we can purchase some great works of writing to fill that. 5 gold per turn from you, 5 gold per turn from you. That's perfect. So that's another +4 culture in this city. These small little optimizations matter a lot. I think I'm going to go for my art museums. I'm going to just look to buy my great works of art rather than try to build them through an archaeologist and have to like dig up tiles and stuff like that. We're going to go for the shipyard in Calakmul because it's worth a decent amount of food production and gold. We have a fully built observatory, so the shipyard is the next thing to get in here. We'll just let that build slowly. In Zunatunik, we have finished the observatory, so we're going to go ahead and start building the library and the university to keep pumping up our science. We could soon buy yet another settler, actually. In fact, we're like on the verge of being able to afford another. And I think this is actually a fun way to play the game. I know I said I was going to play tall, but honestly, I find a lot of fun in like making and designing and building cities. So I think I'm playing the game right if I'm enjoying myself. That's a really genuine thought. As long as I'm not hurting anybody and I'm having a fun time, although some of you guys might be groaning in the chat, that's fair. I'll take that under consideration before I immediately drop it into my bin. Totally respect that. I think that's a great way to approach life too. It's just like if you're enjoying your life and you're not hurting anybody and nobody's telling you that, nobody is reasonably telling you that you're causing them, pain or whatever, you're killing it, man. Keep going. I think our stables are just objectively better than barracks. I get this question a lot. It's like, Potato, why do you always focus on like artillery and heavy cavalry? And the simple fact is that the people focus on the combat strength of a unit. Like if you look at a tank here, 85 combat strength versus a AT crew, 75. Yeah, that's like a big point. So the tank is 480 production and it gets you 85 combat strength. And the AT crew is 400 production and it gets you 75 combat strength. It's not the combat strength of the heavy cavalry. It's like the whole tech path to get to them. Think of like what is required to get to an AT crew. Whereas like if you think about how I get to a tank, like think of all the really cool, powerful units that are on the way to a tank. Like there's not very many cool, powerful units on the way to an AT crew. So that's part of the reason why we don't prioritize infantry and AT crews. The other part of the reason is just the fact that movement is king in Civilization 6. If you're able to position your units correctly to be able to win a war 2 to 3 turns sooner, thanks to movement, that is effectively like having, a massive combat strength advantage, because the sooner that you win a war, the sooner that you profit from the war that you're winning, and the less chance that your enemy has to force a stalemate. And a stalemate is honestly the worst thing that could ever happen to you. So that's why I focus on stables. And the cool thing about stables is they give you 25% combat experience for all cavalry and siege class units trained in the city. I do think infantry units have their place in certain scenarios, particularly towards the early game, but towards the mid and late game, they start to lose their relevance. So we got this city down. I think we're going to immediately get started on this glorious, glorious observatory. And we do need to get a builder over there. We'll figure that out once we have a bit of time. Do I have anything to sell, I wonder? I do. I could sell this for 600 gold. There's another settler potentially bought. And I wonder if any of my strategic resources could be sold. I don't actually need my niter or my coal that much. So I can sell off a decent chunk of both for a decent amount of income and keep that flowing. We're making +5 coal per turn. So yeah, I think selling off a little bit of coal is like totally fine. Let's quickly grab ourselves another settler. I love the whole settle more cities thing. It's really fun. I give Civ 6 a bit of guff, right? Because it's a game centered around building a big wide empire. But honestly, that's one of the most fun things to do in an empire game. As long as managing your empire is like reasonably engaging and not like tedious. Stellaris late game management gets a little bit tedious, which I kind of ran into in my last game that I recorded for Patreon, which should be coming up. The Patreon launch should be coming up soon. But yeah, that's just my take. Okay, no points are in towards Great Generals, and I get new districts built as culture bombs. We did just unlock research labs, which is going to be an awkward time for us to get more builders, but I'm going to really quickly crack out a builder in Copan for the city of Yaxchilan. I think I can get away with not building the Ferris wheel. I might just crack out 2 quick builders to help out my empire, and then I'm going to go for the research lab, and then I'll go for the Ferris wheel into the aquarium. I think that's a reasonable move. We want to keep those. Well, actually, we don't need the amenities to be high in here because the amenities are still really high. So part of the reason that I want to maintain really high amenities is so that I get that 20% boost across yields, and I need that in these sort of not 6-ring tiles cities that are not inside my capital's main rings, because without that, these cities would have massive penalties to their yields. So hopefully that explains why I'm focusing so hard on amenities this game. It's actually really important when you're playing the Maya to have really strong amenity game. Now that we have the research lab, something we can do is we have 2 choices. We can immediately go to rocketry and start building a spaceport, which is a totally reasonable thing for us to do right now. Or we can start to backfill for cheap techs and slowly work our way up towards the spaceport, because building the spaceport is honestly the easiest part of a science victory. The hardest part is generating enough science. So I think by focusing my research on earlier in the tech tree, it gives a chance for the era to tick over. And when the era ticks over, all future, like depending on how far ahead of technology they are, they become cheap basically, which will reduce the total amount of science that I need to win the game. And that is exactly the thing that is necessary to make winning easier. So we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a library in here because it's a very cheap building, 80 production, well 90 production for +5 science. This city 100% needs builders. Where's Magnus right now actually? Because I think I could probably move Magnus to Caguana and actually chop this city out to be quite a bit more effective. I think that's going to be a lumber mill. That will be a farm, and that will be a farm. I do like the Mayan farms. The Mayan farms are very cool. Yeah, I would like to start something here. I could build a water park to give amenities to all the local cities in the north. Yeah, I like it. If I put a water park right here, it'll hit a whole bunch of cities in the area and potentially even hitting the city that's going to be placed on this little island over here. So that feels right to me. We will start a water park, and then potentially there could be like a theater square or something going in the city as well. So we'll put that water park down and we'll just let it slowly build. Trying to keep my amenities high by having a good amenity coverage. City of Fez. Oh, you leveled up. Very nice. Go ahead and take Ace Driver so you can escape more efficiently. Cultural Alliance. Sorry, I just don't want a Cultural Alliance. I think it's a little bit too dangerous when it comes to loyalty to have that. So I'm gonna give that a little miss. Little Misserino. We've got access to the stable in Koba. I think we need to have the armory in order to build military engineers, but I think it would be a little bit more important for me to get the research lab because it's +14 science there, potentially more as the game scales up. Now, one thing that's going to start happening is we're going to start burning coal, and the sea level change will go a lot faster. We've only just started to like output a little bit of CO2, so we're going to have to start thinking about oil and maybe getting oil power plants. So I think I will prioritize, after I backfill all these techs here, I'm going to prioritize going for electricity to get oil power plants, because oil power plants shoot out less CO2. And I don't have a particularly amazing set of coal power plants in my empire. Like I have okay ones, but anything that's like a 3 or less, I think you could get away with an oil power plant here. Like an oil power plant here in Wak Nabal would, 1, 2, 3, it would just reduce the power load of my empire that's relying on coal. And that's an important thing. Library completed in Zunatunik. Let's immediately go for the university. We want to keep pumping up the science. Bump it up. Right, I'm trying to decide upon where exactly would I like my city to go in this place. I have a plantation tile. So I know for a fact that I have a plantation tile, which means that my observatory is going adjacent to this somewhere. It's either going here or here, okay? Which means these are tiles that my city can't go on. If I were to settle right there, there's not really an extremely comfortable place to put this city, to be honest with you. I need to have at least 2 farms adjacent to it. So I could do something like this, I guess. And then if I settle here, this grabs the majority of the tiles that I care about in this area, while not forcing me to actually commit to too much of like, because I only want to settle 1 city on these lands, right? Because I want to settle a lot of cities, but I want to settle them pretty sparsely. And what I mean by that is I want there to be a decent amount of space between my cities, which is kind of like the total opposite of the way that the Maya are supposed to play. Like the Maya are supposed to settle a few cities really densely together, and I'm just going completely sparsely settled all over the map. But I mean, sometimes you got to adapt to the game, the way that the game demands that you play. And it's not always possible to play your game, if that makes sense. Okay, so we got the military academy, which is awesome. We also just got a sabotaged industrial zone here, which feels really bad. We also do have an art museum, so I would like to purchase some great works of art. I think if we could get some portraits and maybe some sculptures. Okay, there's a Donatello and a Michelangelo. I'll buy the Donatello and I'll buy the Michelangelo. How about some religious? I will take I'll take this Andrei Rublev for 15 gold per turn. So that will net us an extra 9 culture per turn from that art museum for a little bit of gold, which I think is super worth it. Let's get this repaired, because this is giving us power scaling, which is pretty important. We may want to get a spy in the city to protect it. We'll see about that. I got the observatory over here in Auriga. Let's grab the library, because we want those great scientist points. It's quite important that we get them to put ourselves ahead on the great scientist stuff. Yes, lumber mills, chopping, all that stuff is all coming down the pipeline. I want to unlink you and move you up there. You get 2 tiles to move and then we're good. Fez is under siege. Oh, I have 2 of my guys in Fez. What the hell was I doing? I genuinely don't know. Why don't you go over to Palenque to defend the industrial zone? Because it seems like we're getting attacked there. That seems like a pretty reasonable thing to do. I should also maybe consider buying another settler. Oh, there's Yosemite. Very cool. And 15 population, which should boost urbanization. That's excellent. We just finished nationalism, so we can combine units together to get that plus 10 combat strength. My settler is starting to get into position. We're almost there. 1 more turn. Repair that factory. Eventually I want space initiative, but I have no reason to go for it yet. I think double harbor adjacency on Reina is a perfectly reasonable thing to take. I mean, eventually it'll be more useful, but right now it's providing me with plus 3 gold and plus 3 production in this city because there is a shipyard here. So that seems fantastic to me. I always really loved in Civ 6, by the way, that the harbors and buildings that I built in Tundra have snow on them. I just think it's really cool. It's like a very small little thing that probably didn't require like a huge amount of super difficult technical work. It probably was a little bit of tweaking to get it to look right, but it honestly, it looks great and I love it. I love the snow-covered buildings. I think it looks fantastic. Honestly, I just love the way the game looks in general. I definitely am starting to feel, and maybe this is just like gamer brain from having played like just a lot of games and stuff like that, but I feel like the graphics are getting outdated, but they're very soft to look at, which I think is the advantage when you go with this kind of cartoony stylized look. I think it's a big, big advantage. Now, somebody criticized me for not buying all of the wheat tiles in this city, but I was like, I didn't have time. I was busy. You know, we'll get there eventually. It's about the journey, not the destination. Okay, we need to get the settler onto this island because it looks like Byzantium wants to settle there, interestingly enough. So we did just barely beat the AI. This is why I kind of wanted to go for settlers, because this is around the time of the game that the AI will start to like settle hard. So let's see, do we see any plantations? Oh, hello. There's a plantation here, but a couple of farms. There's an interesting set of moves we could do down here. We've got truffles. In a perfect world, I would love to be able to get like this marble, this citrus, and this truffle in a good city with room to make a really nice campus. Let's see, where could we position the city to like make that a reality? And I would like to minimize desert, but I want all the luxuries to be in the second ring. I think settling here is fine, but so if I settled right here, all right, and then if I put my observatory here, I got my plantation there. All right, what if I move the plantation down south and then I put a ring of farms around the plantation? I think that works slightly better for me. Then we've got quarry, we've got truffle camp, and I think with a few extra farms just dotted around, we're looking like we're in a really good place. I like the setup of the city. I think I'm going to go ahead and buy a settler and send it over. Buy that settler. I don't have oil, so I'll just send over this man-at-arms. The city of Mitla, we are going to do disguise, and I would like to start stealing envoys from there. Oh wait, I'm suzerain of them. I guess I don't need to. So full flower, I want you to guard the industrial zone of the city. So I'd like you to counter spy on the industrial zone to protect it. Thank you. That will be a fantastic job done by you if you can prevent the AI from doing any shenanigans. Did Byzantium really send a settler all the way around the world through my empire instead of just sending it to the left? What were they thinking? But we can settle this city now. This is our first city on the settlement of Pangea. We're also going to go ahead and settle our first city on the settlement of Siberia. I'll upgrade you to a cuirassier so you can go ahead and kill these guys out. And I think that actually got me an envoy. Speaking of envoys, I should check my quest. Building a frigate, preserve airport, inspiration for reformed church, killing outposts. Yeah, none of these are really kind of appealing to me, and they don't matter to me. So they're fine. Repair that coal power plant. We got the shipyard in the city of Calakmul. Let's go for the research lab. I'm not super hardcore prioritizing the research labs as hard as I usually would. They are important, don't get me wrong. But I'm already so far ahead technologically that I can kind of do things a little bit more efficiently by being a little bit more chill. Monument, granary. Well, it probably should be granary into monument in these newly settled cities, actually, now that I think about it. And we'll need to get builders over there sent from the capital world of our capital city of Copan. I've been playing too much Stellaris. I recorded a whole 7-part series of Stellaris for Patreon, the Patreon launch that we're doing. And so I'm Stellaris brained right now. So let's see. Do I have another high quality city in the nearby area? I'm not seeing any high quality city, so I think this will probably be my last city that I settle because it just looks interesting. It's high quality. Normally in my games I'll be like, I'll settle everything, but particularly when you're playing as the Maya, amenities are so important that, yeah, I don't know if I want to settle that hard because I'm already now, cities are dropping down into the happy zone, which means I'm not fully benefiting from the 20% happiness amenity boost. Okay, so Palenque city has rebuilt what it needs to rebuild. I think we now go for the research lab. I did hear a barb camp noise. I think it's just the barbs approaching this city. I think it would be nice to clear this. See what we could do. We are going to make sure that this tile is owned by the correct city. It is owned by the correct city. Then we're going to go ahead and chomp it. Boom. That will finish the water park. We can now... Oh, I think some of my luxury trades ran out. Nope, I'm just running out of amenities because my cities are getting bigger, which is scary and not ideal. You step there. I will buy... I'm going to start spending a little bit of money on tile purchasing now, I think. That'll be a little bit fun. All right, I want you to fortify. I've got envoys on the cards. Ooh, +1 envoy in Singapore. Yeah, I'll put an envoy into Singapore because I do plan to build a few workshops around my empire. And then otherwise, I don't need to spend my envoy because I'm at the critical breakpoints that I care about. So it's not necessary to spend them right now. I will go ahead and chop here. That will finish the observatory. We can immediately get to work on the Ferris wheel because the amenities are actually kind of more important to me right now. I need those AoE amenities. Speaking of AoE amenities, let's get the Ferris wheel and the aquarium in here after that research lab. I really need builders and I may just have to buy them to send them off to these new cities. In the capital, I'm going to immediately go for the zoo. Oh, I already have the zoo. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So where am I struggling for amenities? It might be in some of these peripheral. Yeah, it's in cities like this. Now we're taking a 5% penalty. We're still keeping the city pretty happy, but it's just not as good as it used to be. We're also going to need a theater square in this area at some point. We'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. Oh dear. Okay. I may have bitten off more than I can chew with these cities down south. I think part of the problem is I got rid of some of my garrisons, but that garrison card is going away at mass media anyway, so I'm only going to benefit from retainers for a little while. Let's see what we can make happen down there. Maybe if I'm quick, I can smash this. Well, the city I just have to get the settler to here. That's all. We might be able to make that work. It's kind of thinking through possibilities on how the hell do I get this city settled when there's a hostile bunch of barbarians around. In Yak's, oh no, I lost the truffles. Oh well. In Yak's chillin', I'm going to buy this tile. Then I'm going to move Magnus over to Tonina and see if I can't get a builder over to Tonina. Quick smart. All right, we might struggle. We might be able to get to this tile. We'll see what we can do. Okay, that's a lot of damage. We're going to retreat and we're going to wait for backup. I'm going to bring a field cannon down. I'm going to bring a knight down. And I will get this cuirassier to finish up the job up here in the north before he comes down to help out with this. I still think the city's worth settling, even if it gets delayed by 10 turns. It's just not as good as it would have been. I want a... Oh, I think the banana tile was destroyed here. Oh, that's unlucky. Well, I suppose we'll just harvest that then. And we'll put mines around the city. Unlucky. So slightly worse. observatory here. Maybe worth putting a farm. We'll see. No, I think a mine if it gets into the territory of having volcanic soil. Slightly disappointed by that. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's just like slightly disappointing. Go ahead and grab that. Clear that barb camp for me. You step to here. You step to here. Put down a little mine for me. That'll keep that city productive. I think now we want to take urbanization. Then we want to go into mass media to get the governor title. Then we want to take mobilization for the next governor title. Then we want to go to ideology. And once we're at ideology, we'll get another spy as well as a whole bunch of new cards that we can play around with. And then that'll give us the turning point where we make the final decision on the exact government we want to go for. I think most science games, I go for democracy. There is something to be said for communism. Your ideology. Yeah, there is something to be said for communism. I just don't know if it's worth it. Okay, research labs are complete in the capital. We could go for the Big Ben. I don't think we need Big Ben. I don't think it's a necessary part of our game plan. I think what we do now is grab those 2 traders that we've been planning to get for these newly settled cities so that they can trade internally inside my empire and get their benefits. I'm going to immediately tile purchase Cockblock, Adrian Opal. So you just don't get any of my island. Just, sorry. Fully willing to spend that kind of money on that. I'll bring a field cannon over. You fortify on that tile. So the field... Well, actually, I think... Can you upgrade inside? Yeah, you can. Right. Become a cuirassier. That'll make your life easier in this fight. And we'll see if we can't take back this land. I'll bring my settler to the north with this unit to heal. Can I change a relationship with a city-state here? I guess I could take over Mitla. Although I think my spy is fabricating a scandal, so we'll take 4 envoys off the top guy. We'll just wait on that. I think I'll take back suzerainty of Samarkand. That's a lot of amenities in Samarkand. It's quite an important one for me to maintain. No luxuries to purchase. You can see my luxury count is starting to fall. Sell off our spares. I'll fight for Mitla. Let's have a look. Pearls, horses. I have all those. Tobacco, olives. I have wine. Yeah, I think I have most of the luxuries in the game right now. Well, at least in this particular game. Oh my god, this is a barbarian tundra island over here. So he still wants a cultural alliance. It's just not what I'm into. We got a little gentle eruption. We're going to repair and place another mine. We're also going to be placing another mine here because we want the city to have its own production. We did just finish the Ferris wheel in Copan. Let's grab ourselves the aquarium to keep pumping up those amenities. We are keeping them nice and high. We got the armory over here in Koba. We already have the observatory building built. I don't necessarily need a military academy. I think it could be good for me to get a military engineer, and I think I could do this in I normally do this after like the crisis hits, but if I do a search for coastal lowlands, okay, I can actually anticipate where I will need military engineers. So Kagwan is probably going to need 3 military engineers. El Mirador is going to need 2. You're going to need 1. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I can preemptively start building and placing those military engineers far in advance than what I would normally do. Now, the fact that I have a city with like this, I think it would be worth it for me to put an envoy into Kabul and Thing. I think it would therefore be worth it for me to unlock, take out charismatic leader, plug in diplomatic league, to get the first envoy to be doubled. I don't think I need to change anything else about my government. I confirm these policies. I put an envoy into Kabul and Valletta. Boom. Both of those envoys get doubled into 2 envoys each. And now the city of Koba will have +2 production towards military engineers, which doesn't seem like much of an optimization. But when you're building, let's see, I'll need 1 for you. I think you might be able to build it yourself. You'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm going to need at least 6 military engineers. So I'm going to just queue up. I'll queue up a full queue of 8, I think, and I'll just distribute them around my empire. Rather than doing it reactively, now I'm doing it proactively because computers is only a few turns away, and we should start burning coal much more quickly. You can see this has already come down to 200 turns, and that's only going to get worse as we finish more military, as we finish more research labs, and we finish more other stuff too. So you're growing quite happily, you're producing quite happily. You're not quite producing as much as you would like to because you're still waiting for growth to happen in these tiles, which is fine. But I think there's room for a water park in the city, potentially, at least an entertainment complex somewhere. So let's go ahead and slowly build that research lab, keep that science pumping. We're up over 300 science per turn, which does feel really good. We have the trade route in the capital. This one's going to be sent to Uxmal to help build that city up. This trade route has already helped the city, so I think I could move it over to Tonina and see if Tonina can get a little bit of production from trade routes. Brilliant. We just unlocked oil. Sounds perfect. Did we find oil inside our empire? It looks like we did not find any oil. It's right outside our territory. That's actually fine because we are going to be keeping suzerainty of Samarkand. We can send a builder over there to deal with that, and I'll do that immediately. Grab myself a builder. Let's have a look. Did we find oil? Do a little search for oil. There's oil here, tiny bit of oil. So it's mostly going to be water oil that we're going to be getting. Not much we can do about that. You roll that dice sometimes and you come up short. We're dipping down into 5 amenities in this city, which does not feel great. We'll need to keep the amenities high here. I reckon we could sacrifice a coastal tile for either a water park. Because well, there's an okay spot here for an entertainment complex. Because really what we need is just to build the first 2 buildings in it to get the +3 amenities. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Like, it's a very unusual way for me to play. I'm going to be, frank with that. And honestly, if you've been watching me for a long time, you should know that this is a very weird way for me to play. I will definitely be trading with Koba. That's +5 production there. That'll really help out the city of Tanina. +4 food, +5 production. That'll help us crush out this granary. I could pay for that granary to be finished, but I don't think it's as good as building it slowly and then saving my gold for builders and then sending builders to go improve those cities. There is an argument to be made for just buying a builder in this city based on how long it'll take for a builder to get over there. And I think that's actually a reasonable argument that I'm going to follow. So let me see, which of these tiles are hills? They're actually both hills, so we can just put mines here instead. It's slightly less builder chop efficient, but you get it's slightly less builder charge efficient, but you do to get the chop, is what I was trying to say. Okay, we got the trader in Waknabal. This one I wanted to save. Which city is going to be my spaceport city? 93 production in Kopan. I think Kopan is going to be my spaceport city, so trade routes are going to be centralized there. I'm going to be making a permanent alliance with Persia. Yeah, we've got an economic alliance with him, and we're going to be sending trade routes to him via democracy, which means I need to build 4 sewers. So I'm going to start that process now in cities where I think it is appropriate to build sewers. Like my capital, so that's 1. I'm just going to queue them up where I think I can get them relatively quickly. 2, 3, and 4. That's fine. So that's 4 sewers. That's all we ever need to build. Sewers are not very good buildings, so you definitely don't want to spam them out, in my opinion. I just don't think they're good enough for that. Or rather, I'm too good for it. If I'm going to be totally honest, I'm too good for you, for you. You know, man, when I go about my daily life, right, there's urbanization. This does give us access to the neighborhood. The neighborhood doesn't have a whole lot of advantages in this particular game for us. When I go about my daily life, it's almost like there's like a chatter in my brain. But then when I sit down and I play Civ, and I sit here and I'm entertaining, man, I feel like I'm at peace. I'm in the place I'm supposed to be. We could build a neighborhood here. There's a +3 neighborhood there that would allow us to get a +food building. Does the city really need the food? I mean, not particularly, but it would be something to do with the production of this city. On the other hand, I could just build a spy. Build a spy to make sure that we're filling out the spy slots. It's a very limited resource, so it's important that we take advantage of it. Get it up and running ASAP. Koba, your job is to get productive trade routes with our ally, like so. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take out Diplomatic League. I'm definitely going to plug in Visselbanken. Merchant Confederation is fine. I don't need charismatic leader anymore, I don't think. I think we can leave that as is. We still need some public works. I think I can take this card out soon, though. I think I can buy like 1 or 2 more builders and then take this card out and just plug in the liberalism card. The other argument, by the way, that we're going to be going for democracy, to give you the full argument for why we're going for democracy. Okay, in order to understand why we're going for democracy, we have to understand why we're not going for communism. So communism is fantastic, don't get me wrong, because it does give you 0.6 production per citizen in cities with governor. It also has an inherent 10% science boost, which is really, really good for scientific victories. However, the problem with communism is that it's a economic/military hybrid government, and that's because it has 3 military policy slots, 3 economic policy slots, and then 1 diplo, 1 wildcard policy slot. So if we take a look at our current government, we would be giving up a diplomatic policy slot, and we really like both of these cards. So we want to keep both of those plugged in as long as possible. Whereas diplomacy, or democracy rather, is 1 military policy slot, which is exactly what we have right now, 3 economic policy slots, which is +1 from what we have right now, 2 diplomatic policy slots, which is exactly what we have right now, and 2 wildcard policy slots, which is +1 over what we have right now. So this is actually just a straight upgrade to the government that we're currently using. Plus, we get the New Deal economic policy card, which gives you +4 housing, +2 amenities, and to all cities with at least 3 specialty districts. That's an insane amount of amenities. It's the same amount of housing. It'll really help us keep the amenity bonus really high and keep us scaling hard into the late game. On top of that, we get +4 food and +4 production to both cities when we trade with an ally. So if we make an alliance with Persia and cram all of our trade routes into the city of Kopan and then trade with Persia, this city's production will be insane. Now, I think there is something to be said Immediately after I get electricity, I'm going to go for rocketry because I think I'm nearing the point in the game where I want to be starting to build my spaceports, and I think I would like to have maybe 2 or 3 spaceports this game, in contrast to how I normally play. Normally I just go for a single spaceport because it's relatively efficient and it's very simple to do, but I think I would like to experiment with building multiple spaceports this game. So let's go ahead and step here. Sick, we've got the university in Quiriggia, so the science along here is coming along nicely. We've got 17 science, roughly speaking. We're going to go ahead and grab ourselves another research lab for another nice boost of science. It looks like Fez was killed by Scythia, which will have a severe knock-on effect in my science capacity. It shouldn't stop our science victory. It'll just make it slower and less efficient. So slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. I don't think there's enough chops in the inner ring here, is there? I guess there kind of technically could be. We'll definitely need to build an archaeological museum to clear out some of these archaeological dig sites, but that's it's not actually for the archaeological thing. It's just to be able to put down the dam. Okay, I need to clear these pins. You need to go there. We need to kill him. There's 20 oil for free, but yeah, we need to kill this. You need to come forward. You need to fall back. We need to get the second cuirassier in here to start clearing out this barb camp. But we will claim this land. It is ours. Let's go ahead and chop the rainforest here. That'll give us a 1 turn on a monument. And then we can probably get started on the harbor immediately after that to get the city growing from these crabs tiles. I'm going to go ahead and buy myself probably another builder in the city to help keep pushing it along. Okay, let's go ahead and pop down that tile. We could get Ada Lovelace. Let's see, what does Ada Lovelace do? She triggers a Eureka for the computers tech, which ain't bad. Computers is the technology that gives us access to flood barriers as well as drones and the ability to build an extra spy as well as a 25% tourism boost across our empire. It's not a particularly important technology when you're going for a science victory, but it is useful to prevent yourself losing tiles to flooding because we are down to 139 turns until the next flood, and this number will start, it's not going down by 1 per turn, it's probably going down by like the square root. Like it's going, if does that make sense? Okay, awesome. We're gonna maybe skip Ada Lovelace. Let's have a look at what great people are available. I think I would prefer Gustav Eiffel or James Watt, honestly. So I'm gonna pass on Ada Lovelace and let someone else take her. Just like I swiped left on your mom. Ooh yeah, baby. I think there is a great temptation here to build the Big Ben, but I hate the idea of losing this absolute godlike tile. So let me quickly do a search for the Big Ben. If anyone else is building it, I'm not going for it. All right. Yeah, okay, Mapuche is building it, so I'm not going to bother. Unless I get Gustav Eiffel. Then I might go for it. Because Gustav Eiffel should finish the majority of that wonder for me. God, Jesus, that's a lot of just stuff here. A lot of line infantry that we have to squirrel our way around and duck, dodge, dip, and dive. All right, let's chop out the rainforest there. We want to go for the observatory immediately after the monument. A little bit of tile improvement that needs to happen there, but we'll figure it out. Okay, maybe it's possible we can bait these guys away from the barb camp. Let's kind of like stand on the edge of their thing. In the city of Copan, we really want to get the oil power plant. I think there was some other stuff I wanted to build here. Oh, I can build Big Ben even faster here. And I give up a Petra tile, which I think is less good than this tile. I'm willing to give up a Petra tile. I know the city only has 5 Petra tiles. Really want that oil power plant, but I don't actually have access to oil yet. So why don't you go ahead and chop there? There's a military engineer. We'll send you up to the north. Do we have railroads? We could probably start building railroads. Yeah, I think we should start building railroads. That's another fun thing we can do with those. So James Watt is an option. I could skip James Watt and get Gustav Eiffel. I think I'm going to skip James Watt and get Gustav Eiffel. I think that's the play. So in that case, let's compete for the Big Ben, because if I lose the Big Ben on this rush, I get most of my production back, and then I just have to re-put down a mine tile, which is really not a big deal. Okay, perfect. I think, though, this is a great place to leave off. We've managed to massively increase our science per turn. We managed to get our research labs. We're well in position to continue on. We're about to get flight. We're working our way towards rocketry. It's all about to come online. I think this is a really exciting, really fun game. I'm having a great time playing Maya. We've got a cool little bit of a battle going on over here. Nobody's really competing with me, but there's like this really fun optimization puzzle that we're working our way through. We've got Big Ben on the way. We've got production on the way. We've finished all of our spies. We've got stuff happening in every direction. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.